Hey everybody, this is Jen with IAACE and your Meet the Candidates. Yay! I'm really excited for each of you, all of you, to meet the candidates. We have one heck of a slate for you, and it's just a casual conversation where you can get to know everybody. We're gonna start off. We're gonna start off with.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Abbie. We're going to start off with what names, regions, and what motivated you to apply for a position with the IAACE Board of Directors. And who wants to start?
I will.
Awesome.
All right. I'm David Shepard, Region 1. And what motivated me to get involved is actually a little push from my director, Adrian Carroll. And the more I thought about it, the more interested I became. And so I am pursuing membership on the board.
Awesome. Denise, I saw your hand up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Denise Esslinger from Region 5. I work with Warren Township Adult and Continuing Education. And actually, why motivated? Honestly, I was actually asked by someone in my building last year if I was interested in the board of directors position. And I had said, I'm still in my first year. Let me get a little bit more experience under my feet. And in that year, I've been able to spend time at the conference and networking more. So when I was approached again to be nominated by a few people, I said yes, because I think it's a great way to network more with the state and other programs, but also to and be a bigger influence for all of adult education students across the state. So that's where I'm at.
Thanks, Denise.
I can go ahead. I am Mauve Warrick. I'm from Region 5 as well, from Wayne Township Adult Education. I started getting involved in adult education in 2020, and since then it's kind of just taken me by storm. So I love our mission. I love the students that we serve, and I see adult education as the future of my career. So I'd like to be involved in empowering the educators and the students and the future of our field.
Awesome. Carol?
I'm Carol Bible. I'm also from Region 5 at Central 9 Adult Ed. And I was actually asked to self-nominate by someone. And I've always been interested in what IAACE does. And as the more I am in Adult Ed and get a bigger and bigger picture of what we do, the more interested I become in just helping promote our field in general and all of the programs that are out there.
And Abbie?
Okay, I'm hoping that you can hear me now. Is that better? Okay, yeah. Good. Okay, so I'm from Region 4. I am hoping to, even if I'm not elected to the board, serve on a committee group. I just feel like I have a lot of knowledge that has to do with the various aspects of adult education, from orientation to instructing to data to helping. I just kind of want to help anybody that I possibly can in education in any way that I possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that first question. Now, share some background and experience with adult and continuing education. Just share a little bit about your experience.
Would you like me to start?
Sure, David.
Let's do it. Okay, I've been in this profession for 27 years. And I feel like I really hit my stride in the last few years. So I've been a work in progress and continue to be. I currently am our fast track teacher, and I also work with new colleagues coming into our adult ed program to get them onboarded and familiar with our setup. And I just think it's the most fabulous career I could have ever imagined. I was meant for this, and I am blessed that I found my place in life.
Nice to hear. Denise, you want to go ahead and stay in the same order?
That sounds great. My background is a little bit shorter. I've actually been in adult education for 4 years, but I have been in the K-12 education for, oh my gosh, it's over 20 years already. But I had opportunity to start in adult education in May of 2020 as an HSE supervisor, and that was a big whirlwind, just learning all the acronyms and learning what adult education was, and I had the great opportunity to dive into learning how students can earn their HSE, working with great teachers and colleagues and training teachers and onboarding. And then in my current position as the assistant director, I've had an opportunity to see all facets of programs, not just HSE, but on the ELL side, WEIs and IETs. So it's been a great experience for me. And this year I had the opportunity to join the advocacy committee for IAACE, which then turned into helping co-chair for the Adult Education Day at the State House in February. And that was just a wonderful event and a good experience to be a part of. And like David said, I taught elementary for years, but my place now is in adult education, and that's where I see me finishing my career. Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, I started also in elementary education, and then I started teaching ELL, our 3-4 class in 2020. And while I was doing adult ed and teaching during the day, I just slowly fell in love more with teaching the adults. I did a very small stint as a life coach before transitioning into my current position, which is the HSE supervisor for our program. So in this position, I get to do a lot of work with looking at our data, with a little bit of everything with that, with registration, with testing, providing resources and curriculum to our teachers. Our program's doing GED and HiSET, so I got in some experience with both of those positions, and I also do the social media for our program.
Thank you. Carol?
Okay. Well, like many of you, I've started my career in elementary education back in 1992 when the market was fairly flooded. So I didn't spend a lot of time in K-12. I moved on to other things pretty quickly, but almost everything I've done as part of my career has involved education and training, including homeschooling my own kids, K through 12. So I spent about 15 years doing that. By the time I finished that, the K-12 system really didn't want me back, and the feeling was mutual. So like David, I was blessed to be introduced to the idea of adult education, and I feel like that's really where I am called to be. And I've been able to make a full-time career out of that, and that's also where I see myself finishing. I've been in adult ed for 10 years, full-time for 7. I've also gotten to see just about every aspect of running the program. I've taught all levels of classes, from the lowest levels of ESL through high school equivalency. I've been a PDF. I have written and helped written IET curriculum and helped implement those training programs. I've helped with some grant writing, and I've done some of the work of an administrator, which I've decided I'm really not. I like being in the classroom, and that's where I plan to stay. And that's where I hope to be able to help others with professional development and just increasing our impact in our instruction.
Thank you. Abbie? Abbie, I think we're experiencing some audio issues again, because I can't hear you. I'm not alone, am I not? I want to make sure. We can sort of hear you there.
Yeah, I just don't think the Wi-Fi is just that.
Why don't you go ahead and throw your response in text, and maybe if you'll move to a stronger location with Wi-Fi, and we'll get you on the next round. All right. Hopefully she heard all that. All right. What specific skills and expertise do you bring to the board that would benefit IAACE?
Expertise. I'll go next. We're back. I am quite good at working with students who have math deficiencies. And I'm also very good at listening to students and getting their full story from them. Because I look at students as an opportunity to grow as a teacher and to impact lives. So I'm really good one-on-one and getting students to open up. So I'm really good. That would translate well to being good with meeting partners to promote IAACE and its mission. And I just see that as being one of my true strengths in life. I do wonderfully well in getting the full story of people's lives.
We'll go ahead and keep the same order. It seems to be working.
Right. Thanks. For a specific skill set, I think I'd start out with one of my strongest assets is just building relationships, not only with students, but in the positions and roles I had with my staff. It's always important to me to be learning from them on a personal level before we get into more of the admin role that I have been in. I also have great opportunity to meet with students, whether it's to pass that HSE test, get that IET or transition onto that ELL program. So to have time to meet with students and get to know them on a personal level is something that I really enjoy and keeps me coming back every day. More on the other skill set side, I'm extremely well organized and good at communication. I feel it's important to be really very detail oriented and let everybody know what is going on and expectations. And I know that helps out a lot too. And with my organizational skills, I think it makes it great for planning purposes. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to work with Adult Education Day, planning graduations. So something that we can do, and then just continue with that relationship and networking, because I know that we can get along with work with everybody in the region, but IAACE also has the opportunity to work with other states too, and so that way to network with them and to build all our programs.
Thank you, Mauve.
Yeah, I see myself very much as a behind the scenes type of person. I am really passionate about curriculum and online resources and being able to provide those to our teachers. Most of our staff is part-time, so being able to give them little bite-sized chunks and strategies that they can immediately implement into their classroom is something that I feel like I'm good at. I also think the power of adult education is in our students and hearing our students' stories and hearing their voices. So I work on our social media, being able to push out their stories, share their experiences, what they've gone through, how they're working to empower themselves and better themselves. So it affects our communities and our workforce. And so having those skills, online skills, to being able to give them that platform so their voices can be heard.
Thank you. Carol?
Well, I bring a wealth of knowledge about instruction and classroom practices as an instructor, but also about adult education in general. I don't like learning curves very much, so the way I approach them is to cannonball into the deep end and learn as much as I can, as fast as I can, so I can be a resource for other people. I have specific training and experience in leadership and project management through my time in the Purdue Leadership Development Program. That's where I received my master's degree in 2020 in curriculum and instruction. I have a pioneering attitude. I'm a great test pilot. I love to be the first person to try the new toys, the new strategies, work the bugs out of them, and then share what I've learned with other people. I'm a strong collaborator. I always think multiple heads are better than one. And if there's a problem I can't figure out, I have a long list of people who are experts in different areas that I can pick their brains.
Thank you, Carol. I'll just take a moment to remind everyone or to announce to some that whenever we first planned this, we did not know it was spring break, and Abbie is on spring break. That is why she dropped. You might have saw that in the chat. And we do have some other candidates that were unable to be here because of the spring break. So we will be releasing next week this video as well as some other videos of all of the other candidates to be able to voice their answers to the same questions. So let's see here. Oh, we have a question from chat. So let's go ahead and take that one. As a new board member, what will you personally contribute to help implement the IAACE strategic plan and vision? In 2 years, what legacy will you leave? Now, whenever it comes to the strategic plan, we haven't released everything. We have released the vision and the mission, as well as the pillars. In all fairness, I want to review just that before you guys have the opportunity to answer, just to make it. So the new mission statement is Indiana Association for Adult and Continuing Educate elevates lifelong learning and workforce development through professional development, collaboration, and advocacy. The vision statement is we equip our members with tools to build more robust programs, empower teachers, and inspire students. We strive for equity and respect for all. We champion the benefits of obtaining an education at any point in life. The values are pretty much the same as what they have been, collaborates with Indiana adult education stakeholders, communicates and promotes adult education, facilitates professional development, and provides support to our members. The pillars represent the new, or not necessarily new, but the committee work, professional development, collaboration, membership, advocacy, and resource development. So with that all being said, Christy's question again is, as a new board member, what will you personally contribute to help implement the strategic plan and vision? And in 2 years, what legacy will you like to leave? David, would you like to start again?
Sure. I like to think that I'm really good at playing devil's advocate in the room. So when I do get a sense of where we're going, I may be the first person to question certain aspects of it. It's part of who I've become, but I think it makes me an asset to an organization like IAACE, because I will question things and see if it aligns with where we are going. And I have no qualms about doing that. I've been in this long enough that I just don't. You can ask my director. I have no qualms about questioning things and making sure that we are in agreement and that we move forward, because staying in one place is not the answer for any organization. As far as where I would think things might be in 2 years for me, I would hope that people would see me as an ongoing asset to IAACE, to support it in any and all ways that I can. I would be there pitching for membership increases and to build partnerships, especially business partnerships are where I see our future being. It's a form of marketing that's built in, and it's what our students need. I'm here to help them to the greatest extent that I can, and that's what I intend to do.
All right, Denise, same question.
Thank you, Christy, for asking this. I look at all the statement, the vision and mission, and it's what I hold near and dear to my heart. And I think one thing about me is my passion and dedication to adult education and being able to bring that to the table in any meeting, chat that I have with. And when I look at some of the pillars here, one that really sticks out to me, and it's due to being more in the forefront, is the advocacy, because with that, we want to advocate for our students and for our programs. And I have found that it is a challenge at times, but it's something that helps you grow personally and professionally. And I feel that I know that IAACE is strong in that, as we are, to advocate for getting the extra funding. And now we're seeing the benefits of increasing, like as David said, our partnerships, WA. So you see the benefits of all that's going on, and just know that job's not done. And so I'd like to bring my voice to the table with the committee and with the entire organization, how we can advocate for our students, which then in turn for our programs too. And another part that holds near and dear to my heart is professional development. I think it's important that we always continue to grow. One of the things asked in my first interview was, what can you teach? And I said, one thing, I mean, people come with passion and dedication, and I would take a passionate person and employee before anything else. And as we can see from this group, a lot of us are K-12 instructors. And I think it's important too for any instructors and support staff to understand that adult learner. And that's something that I've seen at my program when we talk with others. So when I'm thinking of professional development wise, how can we implement that part of training or onboarding for our teachers to just understanding the adult learner, because it is different. And in 2 years from now, it's hard to think, but I'd like to hope that I've left an impression that what I did helped in advocacy and collaboration, so that there were improvements in many areas, and know that we helped even more students and more programs become more successful in the state. So thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Mauve?
Yeah, the part of the mission that really stands out to me is also the professional development and empowering our teachers to be their best self, so we can give the best to our students. Having been a full-time K-12 teacher, in addition to working in the evenings teaching the adults, I understand what it's like to balance those things, and pulling resources and finding the perfect thing that can supplement your lesson can be really challenging. So a concrete thing that I see myself contributing to IAACE is building out that resource bank that you guys have been talking about, with either documents or online resources. Each week I send my HSE teachers an update, and I try to include one resource every week, whether that's a new website for them to check out, whether it's a technology tip, how to do something that they might not know, or if it's a reading about a current event or a holiday or something else. Because it's hard to teach during the day and then come in and have that lesson ready to go. So more resources that I can help provide to IAACE and teachers across Indiana, I think that would help everyone and help our students reach their full potential.
Thank you. Carol?
I also love the idea of equipping, providing tools, empowering. Another point that stood out to me was the idea that we champion the benefits of obtaining education at any point in life. I am a lifelong learner. I believe in that, and I like to model that for my students. For better or worse, my students see me trying new things. They see me doing things that they know are scary for me and outside of my comfort zone. And I hope that, well, I know at least a few of them have been inspired to do things that are kind of beyond their own comfort zones. So that's something I hope to bring with that pioneering attitude. I see myself probably contributing best also in the areas of professional development, mentoring, collaborating to tackle some of our current in common challenges. I know I've already talked to people in other programs about a challenge that we have of our Asian students struggling with reading. It's really hard to get reading gains and help certain immigrant groups build the vocabulary needed. And we have to find a way to address that. We see our students struggling almost on an epidemic level with things like anxiety, depression, things like that have become a huge barrier for our students, as well as helping them overcome kind of that digital divide. Some of them don't have access to technology, and some who do have access really don't know how to use it effectively. So I'm all about the ed tech and using the tools that we have to our best effectiveness to extend our reach, to help our students learn to use the tools that they have to their best benefit also. And in 2 years, I don't know, I hope maybe we have some resources and some strategies developed that we didn't have 2 years ago. It's amazing when I see what we've accomplished over the last 10 years just in our own program, and how many more resources we have as teachers, and how many more resources that we've been able to provide to our students.
Thank you. I know it's hard to think about 2 years in the future, so I appreciate y'all giving that some thought. Is there any other questions from the audience? Give the little silence for just a moment. We'll close with the question of, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing adult and continuing education in Indiana? And is there any way in Pacific that IAACE can address that? So what do you see as the biggest challenges facing adult education, and how can IAACE address it?
Well, I can go first on that. I think, well, from my perspective, and I see this to this very day, and that is just getting the word out there that we are there in your communities all around you. Seemingly, that is not known so very much in the general public until a need arises. And I understand that. But it's still shocking to hear longtime residents of your communities saying, I didn't know you were there, because I have. So I think it's continuing to tell our stories is one of the biggest challenges, because if our stories get heard, then I think all the good things that come from that will follow, like funding, the acknowledgement that we do really good works, and that we're not going anywhere anytime soon, and that we continue to adapt to the changing times and our students' needs. So yeah, I think good old-fashioned marketing and word of mouth, and more of that is needed.
Thank you, David.
Thinking of a few challenges that we have in adult education, and one is for not necessarily understanding that we exist, but how we exist and how we help. I think there's sometimes a misconception of how quickly we can get adults in and out of our program with that speed that we want to do to get to that HSE, that certification, that English language acquisition. And while we may be known in our communities, what exactly we can do and how much we can benefit is not always known. So getting that word out too. I think advocacy will always be something that is going to be a challenge, but we can always rise to that challenge. We will continue to do that with committees, with getting the word out, with having important events that everybody's involved with, knowing our representatives and senators. And I think that's always going to be ongoing. And IAACE already does a good job with starting that. I feel like what I know from advocacy came from IAACE, so just to continue in that growth pattern. And one other thing I noticed too is, and I've heard this in other programs, is just getting highly qualified staff hired in and into our programs, and then not having to have that turnover. And an idea that I kind of think about from the standpoint of our students, a lot of times we have students come in, they're in an orientation, they make friends, they become a cohort, they work through the levels and they stay together. What if we could do something from that same aspect on IAACE, thinking of a new teacher training of a new cohort. I know there's been some before, but what if Region 1 teachers, brand new teachers, worked with Region 5 brand new teachers and then kind of built that collaboration? So on the professional development side, I'd like to see how we can help new teachers and staff members understand the adult learner and then give them that kind of support, because there's great individuals out there just waiting to be part of our programs, and we want to bring them in and keep them. So thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges that we are facing as a state is the influx of immigrant students into our ELL programs. They share that at the statewide webinar, just the skyrocketing number of students that we're seeing, and there's still such a big need for ELL classes in our state. So I think that's kind of tied back to funding. We need more funding so we can have more classes. But the other part of that, I think, is accessibility. There aren't as many online options through adult education for our students. I know we have Indiana only online, but just building that capacity for us to have online classes so more students can get their education where they can. Our students are juggling a lot of things with their home, their work. So if they have it on demand where they can work independently, I think that would be a good option for some of our students. And tied to that, I think the third biggest issue would then be digital literacy. We see a lot of students who they're coming in with low digital literacy levels, and that is in itself is a barrier. If they can't if they don't know how to use the computer, they can't take the TABE test very well. They can't take HiSET or GED very well. So continuing to have digital literacy options so our students can build those skills, which will then help them as they get into the workforce, those critical digital literacy skills.
I absolutely agree with Mauve that our population is becoming even more diverse than it ever has been before. And in our program, we're also seeing a shift to the younger end of the demographic, especially since the COVID shutdown. And it's our younger students that really seem to be struggling with that mental illness, anxiety, depression. And many of them are in my online classes. They have anxiety about being in class, so they're with me online. And we're kind of figuring out ways to support them. It's a very individual thing. So I would love to see some more support, more information, more resources to help teachers address that kind of issue. They need our support because that anxiety and depression is a huge barrier to them receiving education. So I'd love to see some more information and PD on that, and I'd be thrilled to be a part of creating that.
Awesome. Bravo to all of you. Whenever I think about all of your answers and I sit here and I'm digesting all of it, I think that whenever the strategic plan is officially released and you really get to read all of the depth of it, that you are going to think, wow, was I part of the discussion back then? Because I could have swore I was. So much of what you guys have said is part of the strategic plan. So I think we have an exciting future whenever it comes to IAACE and the board of directors. I'll give one last shout out to if there's any questions from the audience. Appreciate the audience being here with us today. We'll give them a little round of applause for taking time out of their day. And going once, twice. I'm like, how long does it take to type a question? I mean, it takes me a while sometimes. So I'm like, oh, okay, is that enough time? Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time today, especially since it's that spring break time and scheduling it at the last minute. We will completely release the entire ballot with videos and stuff of all candidates, including this one, next Tuesday. So watch for it in your inbox. And if you're watching that now, it's here. I always have to throw something in whenever you got that recording. So thanks so much.
Bye.